Let's switch gears and talk a little bit about the real estate market. First thing I want to do is I want to give a shout out to our good friends at Premier Magazine. Now this magazine is hitting all over restaurants and businesses and homes all across San Diego. I just was interviewed about the luxury real estate market. Hope you can pick it up. And if you want a free subscription to it, visit these guys online. You can certainly go to our website, AmericanDreamElite.com. Just want to give a quick shout out as we switch into the real estate topic. Great guy to talk to is number one for the Wall Street Journal, Kurt Wannebo here in San Diego, operates out of Carmel Valley. This week I was actually looking at some homes on the market, and it amazes me how people get this stuff wrong, from pictures to videos on how they're marketing properties. So we're bringing in Kurt Wannebo to talk about what's happening in the marketplace, and also not just market, but marketing. Kurt, good to have you on the show. Thank you for joining us.
Craig, thanks for having me again.
One of the most compelling radio interviews ever when it came to real estate this past Tuesday. We upload everything to our website, AmericanDreamElite.com. I hope people can go check that one out. Just really authentic and raw from a guy who's out there in the trenches. So what are we talking about here today?
Craig, I wanted to bring it down to basics when it came to marketing a property. And so by that I mean just bringing it down to the most simplistic things that we start with, because you have to understand that most buyers, when they're looking for a home, they're looking online first. And the first thing that they typically see are the pictures to decide whether or not they even want to go out and see the property and set foot on it. So I'm going to be talking a little bit today with my special guests about photography. My guest today, his name is Brent Haywood. He's with Brent Haywood Photography. He's one of the most well-known photographers, I would say, throughout San Diego in doing many of the high-end or luxury shoots and photography for high-end listings. So I work with him almost exclusively, but he doesn't work exclusively with me. He, in fact, works with a lot of the other elite members here that are part of the show. So, Brent, I wanted to first thank you to the show and thank you for coming on and being my guest.
Thank you.
So, Craig, what's interesting about him is, he is a photographer, but he has an interesting background in regards to how he got into that. So, Brent, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
A little known fact, I'm actually a recovering realtor myself. I spent 10 years selling real estate in San Diego. I had a great time doing it, like most people, when the market was good. I just picked up the camera and started shooting my own listings to get a little bit better photos. I actually wasn't happy with what was out there myself as a realtor. Mm-hmm. So just kind of picked it up as a hobby, shot more and more images of the homes, and then at one point I had a few agents in my office start to ask me to shoot their listings. One thing led to another. We picked up the entire office for business, and then it expanded into about 450 realtors now.
So what I find, and many times when I go on an appointment, people will automatically assume that every real estate agent uses a professional photographer, and the reality is they don't. And then from there, I explained that there are a lot of professional photographers out there, but there are varying levels of degrees and skill sets. You are one of the most well-known photographers, especially in the high-end market. What are some of the things that you do differently in respect to other photographers?
Probably the biggest thing that sets us apart now is we use real strobes to light up almost every shot that you see on every house that we photographed. The big thing on the market now is HDR. That's a big buzzword where people take, or other photographers will take 4 to 5 images, blend them together, and let the computer do most of the work deciding how the image should look. I still haven't found a program on the market that actually takes the photo and does HDR like I like it. Mm-hmm. So we still stick to the strobes. It takes a lot longer to shoot that way, it takes longer to process, and it's significantly more expensive to do it. But we're sticking with that until there's a better method, and I just haven't found it yet.
Okay. Well, to give people out there kind of an idea of what I'm talking about in regards to the difference in regards to the photography you take versus other agents, I actually brought in a short video clip, and what it shows are the actual same property when it was photographed by you versus when it was on the market at another time with another agent. So you can actually see some of the examples here in the dramatic differences between those two. So again, one is when you shot one of my properties versus when another agent listed it with another photographer. And you can see that there's a quite dramatic difference in regards to just how the property's presented.
Yeah, and the lighting has everything to do with it. In our entire crew, all of our photographers are using the same lighting, so you get a consistent experience. And you're one of the few agents that we specialize in with the evening photography, which is so important. You get much better color and contrast out of the home. I mean, all of these images, they just have a lot more mood to them. You typically don't see a Vegas hotel photographed during the day. It's almost exclusively in the evening. And as you can see from those photos, the ones that are shot in the evening just have a much greater impact. And you really have seconds to capture their eye on the internet, seconds. Right. So that lead photo has to pop.
So, you know, one thing I did learn from you is that the time of day when the photo's taken can have a huge impact in regards to how the pictures turn out. And the other thing I always explain to sellers is this, is that not only do you need good pictures in regards to getting people out there, but I always tell them, you know, when we present them a counteroffer, what do buyers do? They think about it overnight and they decide if they're going to pay that higher price, and they go online and they look at those photos and those videos. And so having a better picture many times will entice them to write a higher offer.
I feel the same thing about products that I look at. I'll go back to the same websites 20 times if I'm interested in something.
So you've started to also expand the photography, and this is something that I've been doing as well. I feel very adamant about in regards to showing some of the added value propositions in properties, which is going to the air to take some photography. Yeah. So talk a little bit about how you do that and the importance and what you're seeing out there.
Well, one of the thing that we started almost right away when we started the ground-based photography was starting to shoot from the full-size helicopter. I'd always been a fan of helicopters, so this was a great way to transition my most fun thing to do in life into the business. So we shoot aerial photos like this from a full-size helicopter almost every week. And what I think one of the biggest benefits is it helps tie in that home with the lifestyle that's around it. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that's hard to see from the home photos itself. Unless you're tying in some of those community-based things or lifestyle-related things, it's very hard to see what's going on in that community.
And so you use things like drones and helicopters?
Both.
Take those photos?
In fact, the full-size helicopter we'll use if they need a wider area image, you know, a couple of miles wide, or if we can't get down low enough to show what we need on the property. With the drones, I think we were one of the first in San Diego to use those 5 or 6 years ago. We can get in much tighter to the property, take photos and video. It's a much more dynamic way to help supplement the still photos, just to showing a little motion.
So where can people go today if they want to see more of your work? I know that you're in a lot of different magazines, a lot of high-end real estate magazines. What are some of those that you've been in?
Almost all the major magazines we've shot covers for in San Diego, many of the architectural magazines, almost all the name brands here in San Diego we've shot covers
Premier Magazine.
For. Premier Magazine.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to thank you for coming in and being my guest today. I do appreciate it and talking a little bit about photos. So again, thank you for coming in.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Great segment there, Kurt. I appreciate you bringing in Brent. You know, I am looking in the market to buy a home myself. One thing I think you could help some agents with is a professional photo. I see some of these dating back to like the 80s, but I had to post this. I learned that you guys are going to be talking about this right before the show. I put up a post this week. I couldn't make this up if I tried. This couldn't work more seamlessly into the segment here. This is a picture from this week. It was one of the first pictures I saw of a home that was on the MLS as I was looking into real estate. Now, I put the boxes and arrows myself, but this is truly how properties are being marketed right now. Now, what about that screams wanting to buy real estate? If you go on the MLS or on some of these syndicated websites, this is the stuff you see when we talk about being in a global marketplace and buyers coming from all over and real estate still being an emotional buy. You can see why this information from Kurt is so important. So Kurt, you're always great about the market. Thanks for bringing in the marketing into today's show. Appreciate it. All right, coming up next.